Okay guys, so in this video we're going to be taking a look at techniques for motion graphics in Fusion. I'm trying out something new today. Let me know if this style of video is to your liking. Hope you learned something as well. Hope you find it useful. So yeah, enjoy. Okay, so let's go into the effects and drag in a Fusion composition. We can also go to 10 seconds, hit E, there we go, we have a 10-second Fusion clip, go into it, and then we have our media pool up here. So we have a Fusion logo and we have a stencil of a 2D helmet here. If I wanted to, let's say, make this texture repeat itself on a grid, here's how you typically would do that. So you would add first of all, let's just add a Lumix here to separate the stencil. So invert that and then just clamp the sliders a little bit. And let's add a background. Let's view that, and then we can drag down on the alpha to make it transparent. And then if we pipe Lumix here into the background, and then you would probably like scale down the image a lot, put it on the bottom, and then, you know, add a duplicate, view that, increase the number of copies, and then offset them like so, and then copy the duplicates, and then, you know, increase them like so, maybe not as much, and then like you have a grid, which is nice. However, it is maybe a little bit clunky, and there is a faster way to just get a clean procedural grid, and that is to just don't do the duplication at all. Just in the merge here, you can just reset the merge. In the merge, you can go into the edges here, change it from canvas to wrap, and now you can see you have essentially an infinite grid that you can do whatever you want with. And if you don't like the spacing, you can also let's just split the viewer. You can also go into the foreground, you can add a crop node. Let's just hit keep centered, and then you can just increase the size here, right? So the crop node will essentially decide the space between, and then the merge essentially controlling the grid like so. So this would be the way to go, I think, if you wanted to do this. You can also mask that. There you go. Now you have something edgy going on. You have icons within the icons. There's a lot of cool stuff you can do with this technique. So yeah, that's easy duplication, really useful for 2D motion graphics. We have this stencil here and we have this text. Now, say I want to have this text here behind the head, then I would just take the alpha of the silhouette, pipe it into the blue input of this merge. That essentially tells the merge node, do the merge operation under this condition, right? So now the text is behind, but now we can't actually read the words. Stay with me. So we would copy the text, we would merge it back over, view the next merge. Now in this text, go into the shading, disable element 1, and then go to the second element, which is called red outline, enable it, and then change the color to be the same color as the gray text we have. We can also reduce the thickness, and now you see we have an interesting result here. However, if I now want to move this, you can see I will have to move them both separately, which is a pain in the ass. So one way to fix it would be to go into the layout and then, you know, right click on the center value and then connect these two nodes together with either expression or connect to. But a much easier way to do this is to just add a transform node, copy that, Control C, and then Control Shift V, and now you have an instance. So now you can see these values here are green, by the way. So if you view this here and this here, when I move this, they're essentially copying each other. So now in this one, the transform is moving both of them together, which is nice. So that's a really nice and neat little use case of instancing. Fusion has a lot of secrets, and one of the needlessly convoluted things is essentially all the ways to apply a mask. And by applying a mask, I mean the good old After Effects fashion, which is essentially a cutout. So you can see up here we have the first example, which is create a mask. In this case, it's a rectangle mask, and you just pipe it into a blue input of a loader to just mask the output, right? However, there are cases when doing it like this is not the optimal way. But if you want to do this without actually affecting the loader node, there are several ways. So we can take this same mask. You can either add a merge node. Let's go over here. Pipe this mask into the green input of the merge node. And then just in the operator setting, change that to mask. There we go. So now we have essentially the same effect. Or, you can add any old node here. You can add a color corrector. You can add a brightness contrast, grain node, a blur, a glow, you name it. As long as the node has a blue input on it. Let's just do it like this. So if we pipe it into a color corrector, then we pipe the mask into the blue input, and then we go into the settings of the node that you've piped the mask into, and then just multiply by mask. You can see we're doing the same thing again. And the same goes for every node with a blue input. And then there is the default value of the blue input node, which is it's called an effect mask, right? So it's masking the effect of a node. So let's say we want to view these helmeted guys through our mask, essentially through our Fusion logo. Then what we can do is we can create a merge, pipe this into the merge, and then here we can go into the operator and then choose mask or stencil, but that's the other way around, right? You can see it's the opposite. And then you just go into the merge where you've wrapped the edges, and then you have a mask going on. The operator is also really cool because you can just click the text and you can see it's highlighted in white, and then you can use the arrow up and down to just skim through the different values instantly, so you can see some interesting results. But yeah, that's a little bit of a masking walkthrough. Another neat thing is the bitmap node. So we have this background and we have this overlay that looks like this. And you can see if we press A, it has different brightness values. So these are essentially the alpha values as well, right? So you can see they're not fully transparent. So let's say we have this image and we want everything that is underneath this mask here essentially to be blurry. Let's just add a blur real quick. So if we do that, you can see we do this and we take this mask here, pipe that into the input of the blur, and then just increase the blur size. You can see our blur is uneven. What if we wanted the blur to be covered by this whole thing, but we don't want to make a new mask? What we can do is just add a bitmap node, pipe the mask into the bitmap, and then pipe the bitmap into the blur. So if we watch the blur in this window and the bitmap in this window, you can see, let's also just make it a little bit bigger. Should have done that a long time ago. You can see if we take these sliders here and we slide it all the way down, you can see we are essentially modifying the alpha channel of the mask and we're clamping it without the need to generate a new mask. So now you can see the difference. So for the next example, we have this footage here, we have this logo, and we want to merge them together. And I also have this color grade. Now you can see that the logo, after I color graded this footage, became really crushed. What essentially we need to do is we need to take this logo and convert it to linear color space along with this footage, and then convert both of them back to this original color space. Let me just show you how we do that. So add a gamut node. And this is a really common issue when you're mixing elements from multiple sources. So just add a gamut node, and then let's go into the source space, go all the way down. So just choose from image, or in this case sRGB. It's identical. Now you can choose whether you want to convert this into linear space as well, so that they're both in linear space here together before you convert them back, or you could just convert this one to the correct linear space before merging it over. Let me just show you what converting this linear space would look like. So that would be a Cineon log, then you would have log to lin, and then copy it over here, and then lin to log, and view that. However, the Cineon log node doesn't have my log type. It has ARRI, blackmagic, Canon, Nikon red, but it doesn't have Fujifilm, which is my camera. So I actually have to use a color space transform, and then I need to set the input color space to Rec 2020, which is the F-Log, and then we choose Fujifilm F-Log, which is my camera, right? And then just copy this and then swap them around. Actually, you can actually see here that this logo is still a little bit too saturated, so you can go and create a color corrector here, lower the saturation a little bit, and maybe the contrast a little bit as well. But yeah, this one might be unnecessary. You could just do like that, so that like you're just taking this through the conversions and then merging these on top and then grading them afterwards. So this is essentially how you mix sources together and have them both come out as log after. So yeah, it could also be useful for motion graphics if you have elements from different things and you want them to look the same. So yeah, you know, that's that. Okay, cool. Thanks for watching. I hope you learned something, and I hope you enjoyed this new type of video. If you did, or if you didn't, please leave a comment down below. Otherwise, like and subscribe. Stay tuned for more. Hope you have a good one. See you later.